Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and this week is another Matchbox K7 sent to me by William, Mr. K7 Robinson. If you'll watch the channel at all, you'll know this is my third and final one. Not everything went as expected on this one, so stay tuned and see how it goes. As always, if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell to get notified whenever I post new videos. So yeah, this quite didn't go as planned. I knew what I wanted to do. I had discussed it with William. We had a little bit of a vision. For the most part, he gives me creative freedom on what he wants, and I get to kind of do what I want within reason. The what's kind of funny is the direction I was going. We discussed this maybe, I don't know, 2 months ago, and if you watch any of the videos that you follow other customizers, there's a customizer who's also a Patreon member of mine, Jim SILVA, who actually released one this morning. And his is almost, I would say, not identical, but at one point it was very, very, very close. If I hadn't screwed this whole thing up, they would have been a lot closer. And what's funny is, we both, neither one of us knew what was going on with the other one. So it's kind of cool that, we all have different ideas, but sometimes they're so close and we all have the same style. It's funny to see how things come out. But as always, I started by taking this whole thing apart. I'm taking all the tabs off of the wheels because I'm not doing anything stock on this, and all these are going to do is be in the way. I save all the parts, so any purists out there, don't worry. I do have the remnants of what I hack. I try not to throw anything away if I can. So he also sent me, and we had discussed this, a bunch of muscle machines. And I like these because we use the wheels, scale-wise, they're perfect. And I had a certain vision on this where I just wanted a really, really kick-ass rake. This is going to be a street machine. And to have a street machine, you need to have a stance. And it can't be flush. And I just wanted it to be as evil-looking as possible. So I ran into, I wouldn't say there were issues. This was kind of the fun stuff. Because it's so long and big, when you try to get the stance that I was after, the back wheels and the front wheels are pretty easy to do, but you actually have to stagger that inner set, the second set of wheels on the inside, because they don't even touch the ground with the stance. So I actually had to stagger the heights on all the wheels, so all three are different, just to keep that rake, because this thing is so long. But these particular muscle machine axles are the same diameter as Hot Wheels. So I'm cutting some 1/16 K&S brass tubing, and none of the wheels I have are even close to being the right width. So obviously I'm going to have to use axle tubes. And if you watch any of my videos, I think I started showing it last time. After I cut the tube to length, I stick a piece of piano wire in that I use for axles sometimes if I have to make my own. And I put that in there, and I'll just grind a little spot that I'm going to use to glue the axles in. I'm just going to grind it till I see sparks, and I know it's far enough in. I can pull my used tube out, piano wire, and it's perfect. I don't have to worry about little pieces being stuck in there. So naturally, the wheels are wide. They're wider, not by much, but they're wider than the stock wheels. And because I wanted them sitting down, I had to do a lot of grinding on the inside of the front wheel wells just to get these things to tuck up tight underneath. So here's where my the crux of all my issues started, and unfortunately I didn't know it. So I'm making a bed cover for this, and I wanted it to house the three motors that from the same set of that I get the tires from on the muscle machines, I wanted 3 motors in this. That was something I wanted originally, and I was sticking to it regardless. 2 didn't seem right. We're calling it overkill because I wanted it to be just outrageous. And what's more outrageous than 3 motors? So I'm using plastic styrene, and it fits perfect just like that, right on top of the bed. And right here I'm kind of mocking up what the 3 motors would look like, how they're going to sit, just to get us, a little bit of a rough idea. So I notch out where the motors are going to sit. I'm going to do that 3 times. I cut the first one out, and to make the other ones the same, I just used that piece as a template and then traced the other 2. So after this, my issue became I need to be able to set them on something. So I wanted a raised or lowered platform that sat below the bed, but not so deep that the motors would just kind of hang there. So I'm using I think it's a piece of 1/16 square tubing, plastic styrene, and I am just going to cut it. I cut another piece to fit underneath, and all that's going to do really is it's creating a shelf and a flat surface for all 3 motors to sit on, so they sit recessed and I'm not just gluing them to the top. Again, the whole point of this at this point is it's going to sit on top of the bed. So I got my TS42 Tamiya paint, silver. I did the base, I primed the base, and then I painted it that silver color. So here I am fabricating the back piece that's going to sit where the gate was at one point. I spent a lot of time on this. I did it like 3 times. And this is before I screwed up. So, again, I know a lot of times we'll show videos and it's like, hey, we did this, we did this, we did this. Look, it looks awesome. There's a lot of times where shit just goes sideways. And this whole thing went sideways real fast. And so what I did is at one point I thought I was going to put something on top of the bed, so I put underneath. So I put a little plate, and I was going to paint it black. So while that was drying, I turned my attention to all the casting lines on this. Once you strip it, you can really see there's a ton of just tiny lines, but they all add up, and it just kills it. So I spent a couple hours just grinding it and sanding it and just going back and forth with my file just to make it all nice, as smooth as I could. So here I am. I made a wing for it too because I just wanted it to look, I just thought it looked killer. So I used the Chaos Black. My initial goal, talking with William, is I wanted a satin black vehicle. Everything from, I just wanted it all blacked out except for the wheels. And you can see that 3rd piece in there I put to stagger the wheels. So I primed the interior. I've got the vehicle in black. Everything's good. Here's the second attempt of making that rear piece. I was going to initially stick some exhaust through it. That's why there's holes in the other piece. But that did not work well. I ended up just gluing some on, and it looked a lot better. So anyways, back to the black. And I'm chuckling because this is just one of those things that everything I touched turned to shit. Right now I'm making a skull shifter because you need a skull shifter. You have to have it. So I took some axle tubing and I bent it a few different directions to make it look correct. Drilled a hole in it, and that part actually went pretty good. Other than that, the rest of this thing, it was almost like a comedy of errors. And at some point, I had to have known that I was screwing this up. And if you watch any of my videos, I double fit, I triple check fitment. I mean, where I went wrong, I can't count how many different ways that there were signs telling me. So I painted the interior. I'm going to end up doing some more details on it. That's what my exhaust plate is going to be on the back. It's going to glue to the rear underneath the wing. So I thought, well, it looks good. Let's screw it up. So I got some, I don't have any regular matte clear coat for my airbrush. So I've got some 1K matte that I figured I'd put that on. That'll help protect the Citadel Chaos Black. Then I'm like, all right, let's put a very subtle red stripe right down the middle. I kind of played around with maybe doing the lower half, and then I'm like, no, just a real small, 3/8 of an inch stripe right down the middle, right down the bed. I have the splash paints. It's like a garnet red. It's a really deep, dark red, but it has like a very, very, very light metallic. And you can see how it's all masked off. And again, everything's going great at this point still. Yeah, garnet red. Sorry, I wasn't 100% sure on the color there. So I did that, and it was real subtle. You can barely see it. Here I'm detailing the front grille and headlights that stick through. I go back and do some more detailing after. A lot of Citadel paints. Using an aluminum color now just to highlight certain things on the dashboard, the grille, so on and so forth. So, anyways, I wasn't, and I kind of knew it. I shouldn't have put the best. If you look the way it is now, at this point, I haven't done anything else. I've got the bed on. I didn't like the way it sat because when I fit it, it looked okay. When I glued it on, it had a little bit of a gap all the way down the side, and because it was sitting on top, you could kind of see that gap. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll put some air vents. So I did some square tubing. I did all kinds of stuff. I filled in the ends, painted them silver. It's almost like air induction. So I'm like, all right, that's still cool, even though I'm doing something to hide something. Then I clear coated it. I decided it would look better gloss. And it orange peeled to no tomorrow. I'm assuming it didn't agree with my 1K clear, because I use on the matte, and I use 2K clear for my gloss. That's the only thing I can think of, because it just, the minute it touched, it just was horrible. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll scuff it up a little bit and try to wet sand it. Then I said, well, let me try scuffing it up and go with a worn look. And then I said, screw it, and I dumped it all back in the citrus strip, as you can see. And then I redid it the right way. And I'm not going to re-show you all kinds of stuff that I redid, but I'm going to go with the Stino Res for a great primer. I painted it black, and then I'm putting this cosmic sparkle over it because I wanted a bronze look. And I think I nailed it finally. But the bed actually sits lower, and I got it sitting flush. A lot of grinding, a lot of just really finicky fitment. And here is all the pieces parts. Excuse me, I redid the interior a little bit, added some color to it because now it's not black. So the maroon interior still fits, but I wanted some gray. There's my motors. This thing was took me 3 weeks. It was just miserable. Shout out to my Patreon members for putting up with me. The ones with the YouTube icons next to them are linked down below. Please go check out their channels and support them as well. This is what I started with back when things were simple. But overall, not a bad casting. Just needed restoration or needed something to be done with it. It was fine. This is what it looked like with the right clear on it, with the right treatments. Again, don't cut corners, people. It'll bite you in the ass on the end. So this is what I ended up with. It's got a very root beer candy metallic, which is kind of one of the colors I had discussed with him originally. And I think it finally came out killer. I appreciate you guys watching. Please stick around and watch all the video and pictures. I'll catch you on the next one.